Denmark, one of Europe's oldest nations, welcomes with open arms the FIA Karting European Championships to the Rødby karting ring in the south of the country. Present on the calendar for the second time in the OK category era, 2025 marks the first time this circuit has held the honour of hosting the final round of an FIA Karting European Championship. With 3 champions set to be crowned over 3 days of competition around Rødby's 1,245 metres of smooth tarmac, the drivers and teams know, like one of Denmark's most famous exports, they must have their building blocks in place to ensure they finish this championship on top. Rodby as a track is a karting fan's dream, with plenty of places to overtake, an amphitheatre-like arena to watch from, and a circuit layout that encourages plenty of action. Those in attendance are sure to be entertained as 4 rounds of competition for the OK and OKJ classes and 3 rounds for the Academy Seniors come to their conclusion for this year. Along with the pressures of a championship finale, the challenges of kart setup and weather conditions are set to play a part in proceedings. After the hot temperatures in Italy, lessons learned from the cooler earlier spring in Spain and the rain in Portugal will be vital for all. With the heats completed, it's time to go racing once again in the MondoKart.com FIA Karting European Championships. Let's warm up for the racing in Rødby with a lap of the track with the host nation's Oliver Rasmussen. The lap starts with a fast run through the flat turn 1, the speed continuing through T2, before breaking into the 3rd right-hander in a row and the first major overtaking spot. Already into the infield, the left-hand turn 4 is another place where drivers can gain positions. An exit from T4 is important as it's a long run through the kinks and up to the next proper corner, the right-hander of turn 5. Wide track widths typify many of the passing spots here in Denmark. Turn 7 is another hot spot for action. The short run to the left-hand turn 8 can easily catch out the unwary before the drivers barrel into the fantastic turn 9. Using the banking to maintain the speed, attacks and counter-attacks are very possible through the left of turn 10 and then the right of turn 11. A compliant setup of the kart and a deft touch from the drivers are critical at Rodby to ensure the best possible results in Denmark. The story of the first FIA Karting Academy Trophy for senior drivers started in Portugal with a dramatic final at Portimao. After post-race penalties, Italy's Riccardo Ferrari would take top spot, whilst Japan's Yuzuki Sato secured a strong haul of championship points from round 1. To Viterbo Italy for round 2, and after a strong run in the heats, France's Jules Avril commanded the field with a lights-to-flag victory ahead of the United Kingdom's Harrison Whitcomb and Turkey's Atez Birinci. Consistency from Sato in 5th meant that with 1 round to go he'd lead the standings. In Denmark, Wojciech Woda of Poland secured pole, championship contender Ferrari alongside in the front row. Sato starting 3rd held a 25-point advantage with 51 points available in the final. The wet conditions in Denmark were sure to trigger drama up and down the field. Jotan Rosenberg the first to fall on the formation laps. Another false start was the scene of Peru's Evald Perez suffering a spin. 2 drivers out before the start. Luckiest of all, however, was Ferrari, who'd been able to retake his P2 spot on the grid. Racing at the 3rd time of asking, it was a good start for Woda from pole. Ferrari held on to 2nd place ahead of Sato. A steady start for the rest of the field ensured there would be no retirements through the first sector on lap 1. Birinci and Ferrari went to battle on lap 2 for 3rd place. Meanwhile, Sato, up a place to 2nd, was looking good in the championship stakes. Turn 7 would be where most of the positions would change hands. Differing lines for Birinci and Whitcomb on lap 3 gave Sepulveda a chance to take 7th place. Turn 9's banking offered the space for a 3 wide on corner entry. Birinci would emerge on top and back into 6th place after cutting back on his 2 rivals on corner exit. Lap 4 and the battle between Birinci and Whitcomb would continue. The Turkish driver claiming the inside through turn 4, but the Welshman clearly up for a fight, responding down the inside into turn 5. Unfortunately, too much speed allowed Birinci back up the inside, this time able to claim the position for good by the time they reached turn 7. Just behind, Augustin Sepulveda would find themselves on the grass after a close moment with Simas Pachuska through turn 9. A tough moment for the Chilean, who would drop out of the top 10. Lap 5 and Birinci was back into a rhythm, passing Sweden's Mio Alert for 5th place with a well-positioned move through turn 7. Alert would respond, counter-attacking at turn 10, proving once again that Rødby karting ring gives drivers plenty of overtaking opportunities, whatever the weather conditions. Andrea Dakin's race would end on lap 6, with Annabelle Kennedy and Philip Lenk also out. The retirement count was now up to 5. Lap 8, and a brave move from Sato gave the championship leader first in the final on the road. The consistency from Japan's driver had laid the foundations for a first final victory of the season. The pace undeniable, as the leaders were soon catching drivers to lap them and put them out of the race. Keeping concentration levels up was now the biggest obstacle for Sato to secure the championship, as the wet conditions continued to test all. Elsewhere, Birinci had caught Ferrari. A move into turn 11 on lap 13 pushed the number 433 up to 4th. Next on its list was a shot at another Academy Senior podium. Holding third, however, was Denmark's Nicholas Vejen. Not an easy prospect. With championship points still to be decided, Alert and Switzerland's Neil Russell would contest 6th place on lap 18 with a series of switchbacks through turns 9 through to turn 11. Ultimately, it would be the Swede winning out. More drivers would receive the blue flag and orders to head to the pits. Daniel Gardello of Costa Rica and Mircea Marco Patro of Romania, both unable to complete the 25-lap distance. Back on track, a recovering Sepulveda would momentarily pass Russell for 7th place through turn 10. A counter-attack from Russell would open the door for Pachuska to attack onto the main straight, once again get through past Sepulveda and into 8th place. Lithuania's driver wasn't finished there. Turn 7 again would be the best place to make a move, controlling matters to move past Russell and up to 7th place. Next to receive the blue flag and exit the race would be South Africa's Gianna Pascal with a few laps to go. Fastest of all, of course, was Japan's Yuzuki Sato. A constant feature at the front of the field in the inaugural FIA Karting Academy Trophy for senior drivers, Sato finished the season in style to take a first win through the 3 rounds and become champion. The top 10 classification for Academy Senior. Sato wins and takes the title back to Japan. Rødby finishes a strong weekend as the runner-up, with success for the host nation as Vejen takes 3rd. Ferrari and Birinci take 4th and 5th after penalties. Alert Pachuska, Simon Bulbarella, Georgi Samalashvili and Rodion Gurjanov finish the season positively. A historic moment for Yuzuki Sato. Having stood on the top step in Portugal but later been demoted, nothing could spoil the party in Denmark. Receiving the trophy, the achievement became real. Yuzuki Sato, the first Academy Senior champion.
Yeah, I was so good, but practice so bad, feel the slow, but with conditions so very good. So have a good speed, good pace, and yeah, I've kept the pace.
Overall, it's been a good experience. Obviously, shame that I didn't finish the Portimao round. This round I enjoyed quite a bit, especially the dry races. The pace was pretty good, and the wet ones we were lacking a bit more. But no, I think this round was the best for sure.
Yeah, it's been a good weekend from start to finish. Only one DNF in heat 3 with the engine issue, so otherwise really good. Personally, I've had some ups and downs with turbo. It was very bad, but otherwise it was good.
OK Junior's FIA European Championship campaign kicked off in Campillos, Spain with a dominant display from the Prema racing duo of Noah Baglin and Dean Hoogendoorn. Baglin taking the win and an early championship lead. Hoogendoorn would strike back in Portugal in a reverse of the first round's result at Portimao, consolidating the position held by the team in red, green and white. The tight turns of Viterbo in Italy would mix up the order on a weekend where keeping out of trouble would be key. As Samuel Hugon took a shock win, Hoogendoorn's 3rd place in the final gave him the championship lead heading into Rødby. For the final, Sebastian Eskandari would start on pole, the Formula Crisan alongside on the front row. Both championship contenders would be on row 3, Hoogendoorn 5th, Baglin 6th. 21 laps to find this year's champion. Off the start, a move from Eskandari to cover Crisan opened the door for Forza Racing's Benjamin Magnac to challenge for the lead. Crisan was not to be stopped, bravely running through round the outside to retake P1. Good starts for both Premas would see the title rivals go wheel to wheel into turn 3. Early advantage for Baglin, as many others ran into trouble, including the pole sitter. Out completely from the race on lap 1 were Henry Constant Kompen, Arata Endo and Will Green. A disappointing end to their European Championship seasons. Lap 2, victory lane's Lucas L moved past Magnac through turn 10. The French driver's aim? A spot in the final top 5 in the championship standings. Baglin needed positions in hand over his teammate to turn over a 29-point deficit. A move on Magnac would give the Briton third, but with Hoogendoorn still running in the top 7, the advantage was still with the Dutch driver. Further down the order, Ludovico Mazzola took his Birole RT past Mani Nuvolini to move up into the top 25. There was good pace from a number of OTK running teams. Lap 7, Turner Brown's move through turn 1 took him past his fellow American Drew Waltz and up into 9th place. The cold, wet conditions proved difficult for Waltz, soon losing out on his spot in the top 10 to Panama's Jean-Matteo Rousseau. Next to push Waltz down the order was 7 on Savci Soslovsky, running in his first final of the year for the Monster K team. Priam Bruneau scored his first championship points of the season earlier in the weekend. A move past Waltz for 11th meant he was on course for more, with a third of the race gone. Baglin's quest for the title was hampered on lap 10. A battle with William Kalijah through turn 7 left him on a defensive path, looking backwards instead of forward, while teammate Hoogendoorn was holding firm. Magnac had slipped back in the early stages. Lap 11 saw a chance for him to gain back positions with a move on Jesse Phillips for 7th place. Brown would continue progress for the Ricky Flynn Motorsport team. After passing Phillips, he found a way through into 7th on lap 13 around turn 10. With Noah Baglin unable to move up further than 3rd position, Hoogendoorn went on the attack to further solidify his title position. A move on Bosco Arias for 5th would be worth a further 4 points in the championship. Matters would go further in the Dutchman's favour on lap 14. An attack from Kalijah put the Australian onto the podium and Baglin down to 4th. The former championship leader was clearly frustrated. Baglin could see the European title slipping away as the laps ticked on by. Further issues for Baglin would leave him unable to counter-attack. Checking the front fairing, the consensus was the nose cone had dropped, meaning a 5-second post-race time penalty would be coming his way. Compounding matters was the gap up to the race leaders. Crisan led Cell. The top 2 had a 5-second advantage over those chasing from 3rd back. Maxim Bobrashov would sadly not make the finish, falling a few laps short, the only retirement after lap 1. Back at the front, it had been a quiet race for Ilie Crisan. The Tony Kart team's form had been strong heading into the weekend, and in the hands of the Canadian, they delivered a first win of the season. The level of results may not have been quite at the same level Prema had previously seen, but with 5th on the road and his teammate only 1 place ahead, Dean Hoogendoorn had achieved his goal, 2025 FIA Karting European Champion in OKJ. A tremendous result for Prema, who with Baglin made it to Championship 1-2. For the Netherlands, their next star had well and truly arrived, the first Dutch driver to take the title since 2009. The result for the last final of the OKJ European campaign. Crisan wins and secures 4th in the standings ahead of Cell. Kalijah 3rd with his 3rd podium of the season. Hoogendoorn inherits 4th ahead of Baglin. Arias, Brown, Rousseau, Magnac and Phillips finish the season well and inside the top 10. After a tough few weekends, Crisan delivers on the promises set out at the start of the season. A worthy winner in the rain in Denmark, and the run of Kart Republic victories in the category comes to an end.
Yeah, it was a tough weekend. A bit of unluck in a few heats, but I had great pace throughout all the heats, and then in the final I saw he was catching it towards the end. I tried not to over push but not to make mistakes, and it went well.
Well, I think he drove very well. Crisan did as well. We tried to catch him all the way through the race. He did at some point. 1 lap could have been better. One more lap could have been better. Anyway, very good result for him today.
Yeah, I mean, it was the best we could do. It was quite a difficult start to the weekend with a few crash in the first heat. We made our way up. We found our pace in the dry. And then this morning, when it changed to wet conditions, we just hoped for the best. And pre-final pace was quite decent, and then the final was really good. So we happy that we managed to get on to P3.
I was sure very happy because it's a really hard weekend with the condition of the weather. So it's important to be fast in the dry and in the wet. So this weekend we make both, and sure also the other driver of OTK was really fast all the weekend. So we are sure really happy for that.
The OK category season for European Championship glory started in Spain with the arrival of several new faces. James Anagnostiadis, the best of the rookies, winning round 1 at Campillos. A trip to the Algarve for round 2 saw Portimao as the scene for the first Cristian Costoya display of dominance for the season. A perfect weekend for the Spaniard, giving him the new standings lead. The Paralin team leader would continue his streak of results at Viterbo for round 3. Another clean sweep of the championship points across the heats and the final, as others lacked consistency to challenge him. The title was Cristian Costoya's to lose going into the final round of the championship. With changeable conditions mixing up the order, Zach Drummond made it to the front row alongside fellow Britain pole sitter Roman Kamyab. Plenty of drama before the final had even begun. Vladimir Ivanikov off on the formation lap, having been due to start on the 4th row. Pole sitter Kamyab, one of many drivers switching to wets after a short shower before the start, lost his position on the grid due to technical problems. He would rejoin, but start from the back. A disjointed start caught out much of the field. The run to turn 1 treacherous with a mix of wet and dry tyres being used. Those on dry tyres struggling for grip, including Jakub Kamenik and Ilie Koivisto, both off the circuit and out of contention. Peter Stiller would also be in trouble. Back at the front, de facto pole sitter Drummond led from Jensen Burnett and Sweden's Viktor Gustafsson, running as a wildcard in the final round of the season. A decent start for Jindrik Peschel put him 4th, Kenzo Craigie was 5th. Stiller's gremlins would not be resolved. Along with Kamenik and Leo Nielsen, the field was down to 32. The second half of the field contained all those on slicks. Turn 7 would be the scene of Anagnostiadis losing the chance for any more points in the championship. An incident with Thomas Pradier and a slip whilst attempting to restart his kart would drop the Australian into the clutches of the leaders. Inevitably, the blue flag was shown to kart 128, ordering the Prema Racing driver to return immediately to the pits. The title bid of Anagnostiadis had mathematically ended earlier in the race meeting. Now with Drummond leading, his runners-up spot in the championship standings was even under threat. Also out for the same reason were the likes of Thomas Pradier and Ilie Koivisto. The field cut to 29. Those on wets had got the choice correct. Drummond led from Gustafsson, Yuzuki Peschel, Davide Battaro, Burnett, Kenzo Craigie and Filippo Sala. The top 7 even having to navigate lap traffic by lap 6. Also running well were Gino Rocchio, Zach Green and Bolowet. Next to retire would be Luke Corner, the Ricky Flynn motorsport driver having taken the risk. It had not paid off. Even the new European champion Costoya couldn't make the gamble work. No points for his closest rivals though, meant his points leading the championship was safe. Jacopo Martinese's disappointing European campaign ended whilst the leaders were on lap 8. Costoya and Radek Vavra also received the blue flag and joined on the sidelines. Both Viktor Gustafsson and Davide Battaro had gone for wets. The choice had served both of them well, and by the halfway stage of the race, both were on for podium finishes for their team, running the combination of CRG chassis and TM engine, seemingly well suited to the conditions. Sala was also running strongly, holding 4th until Craigie's moved down the inside on lap 11. Jensen Burnett was also still in the running, the Canadian on for a season's best points haul across a full weekend. Those still out there on slicks by now were running slightly quicker than the wet runners. It wouldn't just be the slick runners having troubles. Yuzuki Peschel's front right wet tyre, running flat, put the Czech driver out of the race. Austin Gale was one of the last drivers to survive on slicks. Already shown the blue flag, the pace being with the tyre driver by lap 13 wouldn't change the fact that he was out of contention and at the risk of further instructions from the officials. The rain returning on lap 14 would spell one final bit of trouble for Gale, sliding off at turn 1 and into retirement after a commendable run to make it onto the grid for the final, having run only part of the full season. The rain gave pace to anyone who'd saved their treaded tyres. Burnett's move on Battaro later that same lap put the Canadian back up onto the podium and into 3rd place. The rest of the slick runners pulled off the track. The 4 who'd kept themselves on the lead lap until the second shower, Ramikas, Kelleher, Krutelov and Joe Turney in his last race for now as reigning European champion. The race was still on for those on the right tyre. Battaro versus Burnett versus Craigie was on for the last spot on the podium. After a series of entertaining classic Rødby switchbacks and counters, it was the Italian who was able to break away from the youngsters. The fight was also on for the race win. Gustafsson had used all his might to reel Drummond back in. Lap 19, the Swede used the extra grip and performance to find a way past the Fusion Motorsport driver, and with support from teammate Bataro, the Swede was now on for a remarkable victory. The rain was getting stronger once more, a concern perhaps for Drummond, whose pace, despite being on the wet tyre, was noticeably better in the damp conditions as opposed to the full wet running the drivers were now experiencing with mere laps to go. Davide Bataro would make it through past Drummond for second at turn 7 on lap 21. The Italian showing his class after what had been a difficult European Championship campaign. Kento Craigie's wet weather skills were on show as well. His overtake for third was also a positive for his teammate Anagnostiadis. The move helped the Australian secure second place in the final championship standings. A lap later, it would be Sala's turn to overtake the Scotsman. Nice cut back out of turn 11, put the Italian in full pursuit of a podium finish with a few laps to go. A remarkable final in changeable conditions always needed a driver with nerves of steel to win it. And like the earlier races in the season, it was one of the veterans showing the youngsters how to do it. Viktor Gustafsson took victory by less than half a second ahead of teammate Davide Bataro. A first FIA race win for the Swede in 2 years since his KZ triumph at Sarno in July 2023. Celebrations on the cool-down lap showing how much it meant to 2 generations of CRG talent. The top 10 after post-race penalties looks like this. Gustafsson from Bataro in a brilliant Team 1-2. Craigie completed the podium in third ahead of Sala, and a best result of the season for Zach Green in fifth. Drummond, Elliot Kaczynski, Oliver Kinmark, Burnett and Gino Rocchio all made the right tyre choice to secure top 10 finishes. A surprising result in Rødby as the CRGs of Gustafsson and Bataro mastered the treacherous conditions.
Yeah, no, it's been a decent weekend. We've always been there, but always missing the last little bit. Then for the final, to be honest, we changed. We put the chassis upside down basically, and obviously it worked. But yeah, it's a really nice feeling. Obviously, I'm a wild card, so I'm not taking points in the championship, which is a shame now. But at the same time, to win in OK, which I haven't really done, maybe 7 years ago, but now no. So yeah, to be able to show everyone that I can also win in OK is a really nice feeling.
We took the right choice to put the rain. And yeah, at the start of the final, I gained a lot of position because the other driver has the slick tires. In the final lap, I tried to catch Viktor, but I have not the opportunity to overtake. But anyway, I really happy with that 1-2, and yeah, the team did a great job.
Yeah, definitely. You know, to pick the right tire choice was very difficult at the start. And then obviously as the race went on, it started to dry up, and then at one point I think the slicks actually got faster than the wets, but then the rain came down again, so it was about whoever had the most tyre tread left for when the rain came down, and luckily we did, not as much as the CRGs in front of us, so we couldn't fight for the win, but definitely a great result.
Very well needed for us. It's been a tough season. Before the final, it was a big gamble for everyone. Some went on slick, some went on rain. Then it started to rain. Then it stopped. But we took the right choice. So.
With all the racing in Rodby completed, our 3 European champions in Academy Senior, OKJ and OK have been found. In Academy Senior, Yuzuki Sato makes history to become the FIA Karting Academy Trophy's inaugural senior winner with a superb mix of speed, resilience and determination to win.
In the first round, it's a bad result, and the Biter was a very bad result. But here in Denmark, it's a very good result in here. So very amazing, so good.
In OK Junior, a win for Ilie Crisan in Denmark gives real hope to the Tony Kart Works team that they have turned the corner in their battle against the Kart Republic teams before the World Championship. Dean Hoogendoorn will head to Kristianstad, the new European champion for 2025. The Williams F1 Academy driver, calm under pressure to triumph over his rivals.
It's a really good feeling. Quite a bit nervous during the race, but all I did was stay calm. But yeah, it all pays off, so I'm really feeling great, and yeah, honestly no words. Yeah, it all gives a good feeling, of course, when people congratulate you after such a hard-working weekend and a great result.
In OK, Viktor Gustafsson showed why he's still considered one of the best modern-day kart racers in the world. A highly impressive performance and a Team 1-2. What's next for the rejuvenated CRG competitors? All rivals will head to Kristianstad knowing that Christian Costoya is still the man to beat this year. The dominant performances in Portugal and Italy showed what the young Spaniard can do under pressure. Will the awesome ring in September be the stage for a double OK championship, a feat not achieved since 2019?
It was an unlucky weekend, not the best weekend I have done this year. But anyway, the points are there and we are European champions, so it's a very happy feeling, and yeah.
Thank you for joining us for this year's FIA Karting European Championship. Next stop, the World Championships. We hope to see you there.